Hello crafty friends, it's Donna here, and I have a pair of cards for you today that feature a whole bunch of butterflies. I'm going to make one regular A2 card and also a Slimline card today. So let's get started. The hero of today's cards is a die called Flurry of Butterflies from Paper Rose Studio. You may have a similar die that cuts lots of small areas out of a piece of card. I'm using a card front and base from Paper Rose Studio, and I'm going to use the Flurry of Butterflies to cut some butterfly windows in the card front. I'm going to keep those little butterflies and use a few of them later. If you've been following me for a while, you know that pretty much every card I make needs to have a stitched border somewhere. Now that the front panel's done, we're going to get on with some ink blending, and I'm going to blend directly onto the card. I've put some washi tape around the outsides, wide enough to protect the outside border, but narrow enough that it doesn't encroach into where the little butterfly windows are going to be. And I'm going to blend a rainbow using these three colours. I have Citrine ink from Simon Says Stamp, and Picked Raspberry and Salty Ocean Distress Oxides. As I blend, I'm going to stop occasionally and just bring that front panel back to check the placement for my colours. I have a different blending brush for each colour family, and you can see that I keep track of which one I'm using by putting a little piece of coloured tape on the handle of each of my brushes. Once I'm happy with my rainbow, I'm going to remove that masking tape very carefully, peeling it back on itself and away from the centre of the card. I'm sticking the butterfly window panel down with some double-sided tape, and then I'm going to stamp my sentiment. This sentiment comes from the tulips stamp set and says congratulations. We're in the congratulations season here in Japan because of our involvement with a school that runs on an American school year, and so we have students that are getting ready to graduate, and I need lots of congratulations cards. Remember those butterflies that we put aside at the start of this card? Some of those are making their way back onto the card now. The butterflies that are facing sideways, I've glued flat to the card, but for the butterflies that have both wings spread, I'm folding them up in the centre and only putting glue in the middle so that they appear to be flying away. And that's the first card done. Let's have a quick look at it and then move on to the second card. Are you like me and have a whole pile of backgrounds just floating around? I seem to be a bomb for half making cards and then leaving bits lying around in my craft space. I had an alcohol ink background that turned out far too dark and busy for anything that I would make for my personal style, and so I cut it up using the Flurry of Butterflies and then organised the butterflies by colour. Next, I've taken a panel and cut a strip of circles through the middle of it using a die from Paper Rose Studio called the Slimline 7 Circles Strip. I've also cut, you guessed it, a stitched border using the nesting Slimline rectangles, also from Paper Rose Studio. Let's get the sentiment on before things get too bulky. This sweet little Hello Thanks set has a font that I find just delightful. I really like using these stamps. I've stamped the hello in clear ink and then heat embossed that with gold. And now let's construct a shaker card. The first thing we need is a window, and I just use old packaging. I keep a little stack in my craft space. Once the acetate's glued down with double-sided tape, it's time to build up the card and make some little boxes for the shaker elements. Being paper, these butterflies are very flat, and so I'm only using one layer of foam tape. And I'm putting that all around the outside and between each window so that the colours will stay separate and not slide up and down the card. A little bit of anti-static powder will hopefully stop the butterflies from sticking to the sides of their windows. use my MISTI stamping platform to line up this card by putting my panel in the corner and then wedging the card into that same corner while holding the card still. I've been able to get it all together in one. Finally, I'm going to do the same trick as I did on the previous card and stick down a few butterflies, 2 flat to the page and 1 at the top with a little bit of foam tape. I'm going to leave you with some close-up photos of both cards. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you'd like to make my day, why not press the thumbs up? And if you'd like to know what's coming up next, feel free to press the subscribe button. Have a super day, and I'll be back soon.